Absolutely, yeah. So I guess that's your trigger warning.
There will be gore and horrible human acts of the most vile kind. If you're not in for it, run. Fucking run.
Rated E for everything.
Ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to a brand new episode of Rated E for Everything.
Is that your babushka voice?
I don't know.
It's
I
a
just did a
podcast
voice.
where we talk a little about a lot. And oh my God, listener, if you are not absolutely ready to listen to this episode, I would mentally prepare and come back because let me tell you, it's going to be a dark one.
Yeah, so apparently there have been several requests for murder slash paranormal stuff, an episode related to either one of those. So we figured let's not combine the two, and we'll each come back with a story, a murder story and a paranormal story, and we'll just see what we can find here, folks. And let me tell you, because Chanel and I are both deranged and are fascinated by this shit, and because you've all heard of like the classic like paranormal this or serial killer that, like we can't come and find like regular ass information to give you. No, 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 no. Well, that's just not how this works at all. We have to
Not at
find the
all.
most gut-wrenchingly abysmal shit to present to you, and that's what we prepared today. So
It's
before we get
literally
into it, let's do a Candy game.
it's literally like a nightmare. I don't know what Carl's doing, and he thinks it's completely, absolutely deranged. Carl doesn't know what I'm doing, and I know it's one of the worst stories I've ever heard. So it's gonna be really fun. So leave now if you're not ready for that.
Absolutely, yeah. So I guess that's your trigger warning.
There will be gore and horrible human acts of the most vile kind. If you're not in for it, run. Fucking run.
let me give you a little thing. Let me give you a little sneak peek of what we're going to be discussing here. Serial killers, rapists, arsonists, robbers, and burglars, and another word that I don't know, pederast, I don't know.
I don't know what that
Pedophile,
means.
something with pedophilia, I'm gonna assume. Yeah, sexual relationship between an adult man and prepubescent boy. So we're just gonna get all into that fun stuff. It's gonna be super super lit.
Can't wait. Let's play the
So
Cammy
let's
game and be as lighthearted as we can before this gets real deep.
Okay, bet. I got a word already.
Let's do it.
Okay, let's do it. You
Let's
ready?
do it. Yeah.
All right, for sure. In 3, 2, 1, meadow.
Tube. Oh my God, what?
Okay.
Oh. Oh, wait, I think I have one. Meadow and tube.
Tube.
Tube. Yeah.
Okay, I'm just gonna say the first thing I thought of. I don't think we're gonna get it. We'll see. We'll see. All right, ready?
We'll see. Yeah.
3, 2, 1, train.
Cave. Oh, I could see that.
Oh, you said cave? That makes
Yeah,
more sense. That
train
makes more
and
sense.
cave.
Okay.
Um,
Okay, I have something,
oh God.
but I don't know. Yeah.
I'm just gonna go with what I thought. I think there's like a very clear-cut one.
Okay, I have something. So we're just gonna go with it.
Okay.
Okay.
Train and
Three.
cave.
Yeah, train and cave.
Yeah.
In 3, 2, 1, mountain.
Subway.
Fuck.
Oh.
I was thinking of a
uh,
mountain pass, like
yeah.
you when a train passes through the mountains. Yeah.
Okay.
Fuck, we're so close. You said subway and I said mountain. You
There's
keep
one
getting
more.
more urban and I keep getting more nature.
Yeah, which is so opposite of regular. Um, there's
Yeah,
one.
exactly. What the fuck? Are you okay?
I don't know. Maybe I'm sick. This episode's already throwing me off. I think there's one word that kind of works for both, and it's gonna be a very big of a stretch, but I think I got it.
Okay, I think I have one too.
A little sip to clear the ways before this
Nostrils.
win.
All right, let's do it. Round 4, last one, right here, right here. Okay, ready?
This is it. Yeah.
Yeah. In 3, 2, 1, metal.
Tunnel.
fuck.
Dang it.
Oh.
Oh.
See, what's so hard about these ones, guys, is because we were like very close the whole time, and I can see all of the words that we said. Like, I hope you can
Yeah.
see where I was coming from, because I can understand all of yours completely. Like,
Absolutely. Absolutely. So in my head, I forgot what the first two were, but I was picturing it was like train and tube.
meadow and tube.
Meadow and tube. So then I said cave and train. That's where immediately I was like, I thought of like 6 movies where they fought on top of a train, and like you said, like a mountain pass was coming up, and they like, and I was like, okay, no one's brain works that elaborately. So I went to Subway because it made sense.
I'm dead.
Yeah. And I was like,
It's
oh man.
me. It's both of us.
I
We both work that
know.
elaborately sometimes, because that's not the first time that this has happened.
No, we overthink because we want to underthink.
Yes.
What?
Yes.
Put that on a t-shirt somewhere. We overthink because we
Put that
want
on
to
a t-shirt.
underthink.
Okay, ladies and gentlemen. I don't know, like, this shit is just gonna be like wild. I think that that's like the best way I can describe the gentleman who we're about to discuss here. So his name is Charles, or his pseudonym is Carl. I don't know, it's like one of those names.
Of course it is. Of course it is.
Listen,
Did you know before you found him that it was Carl, or did it just
no,
happened?
it was initially Carl, and then his last name is Panzram. And
never heard of him.
Panzram, I don't, whatever. But it said Carl Panzram, and I was like, who the fuck is this guy? And I was like, and he shares the same name as me? Let's do some research, because I've never heard of him.
Oh my god. I'm equal parts like terrified and so ready for this.
So Mr. Panzram was an American, like I said, serial killer, rapist, pederastist, arsonist, robber, and burglar. So he's a fun little guy. And before I get started with his childhood and, the lovely environment in which he came up, he was quoted, and there's a lot of really great quotes by him littered in here, as saying, the only way to reform a man is to kill him.
Oh, man.
So
wow.
Mr. Panzram, yeah, off to a great start.
Really
Can
good
you fucking
start.
believe that? Born into a large family in Minnesota in East Grand Forks, he was raised on his family's farm with 8 siblings, where they were forced to work from a young age until truancy laws, which made it illegal for parents to not send their children to school, came into effect. Hang on. Panzram's parents were not happy to be losing their children to school during the day and forced them to work in the fields throughout the night instead. Panzram later reported he would get just 2 hours of sleep before he would have to get up for school.
Wait, okay. So the root of the problem here, what I'm learning is, one, we all know that bad parenting makes murderers, right?
Facts. No,
and
literally.
2, do not take away my sleep or I will kill people.
Okay, hang on. I just cannot imagine like being a parent and being like, damn, we really just lost all of our child laborers. Like, this sucks. Like, I'm so pissed off. Those are your kids, bro. What do you mean? Like, what are you talking about? Like,
No. Once he's got 8 siblings, that's not kids. That's a whole baseball team.
You're right. You're right. That's facts. That's so Jesus. Well, punishments in his home ranged from being chained to being starved. He often reflected on his early childhood with the sentiment that he was not liked by other children. And by the age of 5 or 6, he was a liar and a thief. And
Wait,
he recalled...
so his parents hated him and all the other kids hated him?
Yep.
No.
Imagine being called a liar and a thief at 6 years old. 5 and 6 years old.
I just want the blue crayon.
And he recalled that he became only meaner as he grew older.
At least he's self-aware, it sounds like.
No, he's very self-aware, which is actually the worst part about this. Because this is all, he wrote an autobiography. They made a movie about it. Like, it's fucking insane. So his run-ins with the law started early. In 1899, at the age of 8 years old, 8, he was charged in juvenile court with being drunk and disorderly. And in
What?
Yes. Hello, drunk
At
and disorderly
8 years
at 8,
old.
bro.
What was I
8
doing
years
at
old.
8? I was wearing like turtlenecks and trying to play sports. I don't know.
I can't even think of what I was fucking doing when I was 8 years old, like building Legos, like not being drunk and
I
disorderly.
wasn't
Hello?
drunk and disorderly, no.
That's for sure. And then in 1903, when he was 11, he was arrested and jailed for being drunk and incorrigible, a term used when detaining youths.
Incorrigible.
Yeah,
Like
so
you would
bad.
say that about like a badly misbehaved kid, but like this dude was wasted. He's 11.
11
Just
years old,
wasted.
just blacked, just absolutely blacked out.
Oh, just a little like throw this out there disclaimer. Just because we're laughing does not mean that we think this is fun or
No,
funny.
no, we're trying to make it a little bit more lighthearted so that it's not like, oh my God, let's hear about this childhood trauma that led to him murdering and sodomizing people. Awesome.
Oh, yay. No, it's like
So,
nervous laughter and like, oh my God, what is the world laughter? So just a
Mhm.
little throw that out there.
I appreciate you saying that. I feel like that's a good caveat to make.
Yeah,
Thanks.
yeah.
Make sure to keep that in mind, audience and
Yeah.
listeners. So not long after his second arrest, he stole some cake, apples, and a revolver from a neighbor's home.
What
In
a like myriad.
I know, it's so he's
Cake
a
and
little,
revolvers.
he's a little klepto. He's a crazy little guy for sure.
Wow.
Let me tell you, he is scrappy. He's a scrappy fella. Like
I
he
can see that already.
In October of that year, his parents sent him to the Minnesota State Training School, a reform school. According to his autobiography, while he was there, he was repeatedly beaten, tortured, and
What?
raped by staff members in what the children dubbed
Oh
the
my
paint
God.
shop due to leaving the room painted with bruises and blood. Panzram hated the school so much that he decided to burn it down and did so successfully without detection on July 7th of 1905.
Wait.
Low key, he kind of clapped back with that one.
Yeah, that one I don't even blame him for.
Nah, that's kind of I kind of fuck with that. I can't even like.
Hi, wife. She's in the background for listeners. Wife's in the background.
Can you like, huh? Like I don't
Okay.
even. I can't. So much to unpack in 2 sentences.
Oh my God, this poor little drunk boy.
No wonder he was
shipped
wasted
off.
all the time.
Yeah, he's wasted because they would never let him sleep. So he's just like, I'll make my life a walking dream because I can't
No.
fucking focus.
Literally.
And then they're like, you're an idiot. And they shipped him off to school. One of their laborers packed him up and shipped him. And then the
One of
guys
his
there
brothers
were
or
like,
sisters.
yeah. And the guys there were like, you know what would be great? Rape and battery of this child that's already suffered. That'll really step him into line.
Yeah, that'll get it. That'll get him in shape. That'll get
And
him
little
whipped up
homie
real
said,
good.
fuck you guys, and lit it on fire. And I don't blame him for that.
No, I mean, if he did so and he did it without detection, that was only 2 years after his drunken incorrigibleness. So
Kid's
I
like
mean,
13.
like pop off, I guess. That's good. So then in 1906 he was paroled from Red Wing Training School where he had been detained. Yeah, different one. After he had been detained after stealing money from his mother's pocketbook. By his teens, he had become an alcoholic and was repeatedly in trouble with the authorities, mostly for burglary and theft. Now we're back to stealing. At age 14, a couple of weeks after his parole, and 2 weeks after attempting to kill a Lutheran clerk with a revolver. I don't understand how that's relevant to the
There's
story.
there's gotta be a story to that.
No, there isn't. That's it. It's one sentence. Like that's the only information that's relevant there.
It's a cliffhanger there.
That's how I felt. I was like, huh? And then it just Panzram ran away from home.
Just sprinkled in there. And by the way, this Lutheran guy.
So he tried to kill a Lutheran clerk with a revolver unsuccessfully, sadly. I mean, I don't know.
Moving on, clearly.
He ran away from home and became a hobo at 14 years old. He often traveled via train cars and later recalled having been gang raped by a group of hobos on one of these occasions.
Oh my God.
I like, how do you just be like, I remember when I was traveling the country as a hobo, I once got gang raped by them. Like that was a crazy time in my life. Like, how is that just like a thing you recall? Like, what the fuck?
Were they like fellow hobo travelers, or did they just happen to bump into each other?
Yeah, and I don't know. Other hobos they raped him.
Wow.
A bunch of them.
The more I hear already, the more I don't blame this guy for becoming crazy.
So his like little biography here is split into 2 major categories: early life and crime. And now we're entering the crime stage.
Wait. You mean like the crime at 8 years old did not count in the crime category?
No. Here we're really getting into it.
That was the warm-ups.
Yeah.
Okay.
So that after he escaped from a Montana state reform school along with another inmate named Jimmy Benson, they were involved in a string of burglaries, robberies, and arsons throughout the Midwest until they split up. So just running around Bonnie and Clyde style with one of his old homies from the reform school for sure. Like, that's so cool for you.
Just stealing and burning. Here we go.
Yeah. Then at 15, he got drunk in a Montana saloon, which I guess prompted him to enlist in the United States military, assigned to the 6th Infantry at Fort William Henry Harrison. I don't know what that says about the military, but we're going to leave that one alone.
Not touching that.
Insubordinate and refusing to take orders shortly thereafter, he was convicted of larceny for stealing $80 worth of supplies and served a prison sentence for 2 years in the United States Disciplinary Barracks at Fort Leavenworth. This is also important. U.S. Secretary of War William Howard Taft approved the sentence. Keep that in the back of your mind for later. Panzram later claimed that while he had been a rotten egg before imprisonment, that afterward any goodness left in him was smashed out during his Leavenworth imprisonment.
Oh boy. I don't know. I think it was smashed out by his parents treating him as a slave, but okay.
Yeah, I don't know.
Sure.
So after his release and dishonorable discharge, Panzram resumed his career as a thief, stealing items that ranged from bicycles to yachts.
Where does he keep the yachts?
I didn't even know they had yachts back in the 1910s, bruh.
Sure, they were just bigger.
He was caught and imprisoned multiple times. He served prison sentences both under his own name and various aliases. He served prison sentences in hella different locations: Cali, Texas, Oregon, Idaho, Montana State Prison, and these are all as different people. So he was Jeff Davis, Jefferson Rhodes, Jefferson Baldwin, John O'Leary a second time. John O'Leary
got caught twice. We don't know.
3 times actually.
Oh, okay.
And then Carl Panzram was incarcerated because Charles Panzram is a different person. So, lots of different aliases he had while being Connecticut. He was in prison, New York. He really moved around,
Wait, okay. So these had to all be short sentences.
Yeah, because it was all for just stealing. It was all
and
for
he
theft.
just kept getting out and changing his name.
Mm-hmm.
He's like a real life supervillain.
While incarcerated, Panzram frequently attacked officers and refused to follow their orders. The officers retaliated, subjecting him to beatings and other punishment. In his autobiography, Panzram wrote that he was rage personified and that he would often rape men whom he had robbed. He was noted for his large stature and great physical strength due to years of hard labor at Leavenworth and other prisons, which aided him in overpowering most men he attempted to. He also engaged in vandalism and arson. By his own admission, one of the few times he did not engage in criminal activities was when he was employed as a strikebreaker against the union employees. Why you?
That's so random. He's like, I'm helping people. Hold on.
Yeah.
Wait, hold on. There's so much to unpack there. So he is huge, undoubtedly huge. He is extremely self-aware. He knows that he's just fury. He is anger.
Yeah.
And he's like, yeah, so like when I got mad, I just raped them after I stole from them.
Yeah.
And he learned this from the hobos in the train?
Or maybe the people, whoever was raping him at school,
Oh, in school.
Yeah.
Wow. Okay.
School,
good.
Sure.
1 second.
Good. After serving a short sentence in Texas, he then went to Mexico in the winter of 1910 to try to enlist in the federal Mexican army. He took a train to...
Can you do that?
Yeah. He later claimed to have abducted, assaulted, and strangled a man about a mile from El Paso and stole $35 from him. So pretty cool.
Big bucks over there.
Yeah. Oh,
I
wait,
love
hang
that
on.
he
No, wait.
says...
If you were curious, that's $566 today. So
still not big bucks. Okay, he's blowing my mind already. Continue.
In the summer of 1911, Panzram, going by the alias Jefferson Davis, was arrested in Fresno for stealing a bike, sentenced to 6 months in jail. He escaped after 30 days. He claimed that after his escape while riding in a boxcar train to California, he disarmed an armed man he either called a railway detective or a railway brakeman, whom he then forced to rape a hobo at gunpoint and then threw them both off the train.
What? Why? Wait. Okay, this is like the twist from like angry and vengeful and like this is what people did to me to being like, this is just cause this is because I want you to. Like that was the switch right there. That was it.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Also, I love that he just keeps stealing bikes. And imagine like this like fucking maniac just like boop doo 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 boop doo doo. Like here I go.
Also, like just casually escapes prison.
Yeah, it sounds like he's just like hopping around, and I'm learning that prisons were not very secure for a very long time.
I mean, I guess it was the county jail, so it was fine. But,
Okay. Still though, how many?
Yeah, so imagine being that railway detective thinking you're just like catching a bike thief, and then the next thing you know, you're raping a hobo, and he's like, I'm gonna kill you and everybody else if you don't do this. Like,
I don't have words for that.
No,
I don't have words
exactly.
for that.
Yep. So then in Oregon, he was a logger, so that's cute for him.
Wow.
And then in 1913, he was going by Jack Allen, and he was arrested in Oregon.
Wait, I need a timeout. There was something I meant to say and I didn't. Is Jefferson Davis a famous person? Because I know that name.
He does sound like there's a lot of aliases. Jeff Davis. Yeah. Hang on. Let me do a little research for you here.
Doesn't that sound familiar? Jefferson Davis. I should know that person, right?
Oh, because he's the former president of the Confederate States of America.
Okay. See, we got this. He went to the South and he like took on a general name.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, Commander. Sorry.
Commander. Okay. By Jack Allen was arrested in Oregon for highway robbery, assault, and sodomy. He then broke out of jail after 2 to 3 months. While he was on the run, he was using Jeff Davis again, arrested in Idaho, and then escaped from the county jail again, arrested in Montana again under Jefferson Davis, sentenced to 1 year in prison for burglary to be served at the Montana State Prison. He was admitted to the prison in April of 1913. He escaped by November. Within a week of his escape, he was arrested for burglary, giving his name Jeff Rhodes.
Oh my God.
He was incarcerated again at the same place for an additional year. By his own account, he committed sodomy while imprisoned. He was released in March of 1915 with a new suit of clothing, $5, and a ticket to the next town 6 miles away. He rode the rails through lots of different states, burglarized a house in Oregon just cause, where he was soon arrested while attempting to sell some of the stolen items. So,
he was like, hey, you want this? And they were like, you fucking idiot.
Under the name Jeff Baldwin, he was sentenced to 7 more years in prison to be served in Oregon, in Salem.
Oh, that's a big one compared to his other sentences.
This was a state penitentiary, yeah.
Okay.
So where he was taken in June, I don't know, it didn't give me a year. The warden believed in the harsh treatment of inmates, including beatings and isolation, among other disciplinary measures. So that's awesome to hear.
It just keeps happening.
Panzram stated that he swore he would never do that 7 years, and I defied the warden and all of his officers to make me. He helped his fellow inmate a year later escape from prison, and while attempting to evade recapture, evade recapture, his fellow inmate friend killed the warden, just fucking killed his ass.
He was like, hey man, your plan wasn't working out without any kinks. There was a little mess up back there. Just don't worry about it. We're gonna keep moving.
Yeah, I know. Like, what the fuck? I mean, I would have killed him too if he was a dick. Like,
yeah,
he kind of sounded like a dick. I'm not gonna lie. This event marked Panzram's first known involvement in a murder as an accessory before the fact. So this is very interesting. He has not killed anyone yet.
Known to the people, but according to him, he robbed people and killed them, right?
Oh yeah.
Okay. Because he's nonchalantly like, oh yeah, by the way, between here and here, I just murdered some guy and took his money.
Mm-hmm.
But they don't know this.
So, because that was in prison, because that was in Mexico.
Oh, there are no rules. Got it. Continue.
In his prison record, which noted his 2 aliases, Jefferson Davis and Jeff Rhodes, and his the only And he also like gave his false age. He also said that his birthplace was Alabama. The only true statement on his prison record was his occupation of being a thief. Oh fuck.
What do you do for a living? Steal people's shit.
Oh my God. Panzram was disciplined several times at Salem, including 61 days in solitary confinement before he finally escaped.
Oh my God. 61,
yeah,
like
61
consecutively?
days. I'm pretty sure. Yeah, that's what it sounds like. I don't know, maybe just like the whole time he was there, but I don't know. 61 days in solitary.
You're literally just like building the monster.
Mm-hmm.
Wow. Okay.
Before he escaped in September of 1917, after two, not one, but two separate shootouts in which he attempted to shoot some fucking chief deputy from I don't know where. He was recaptured and then returned to prison. In May of 1918, he escaped again by sawing through the bars of his cell, caught a freight train heading east.
He just sawed through the bar, like no one checked. No one was looking at him. Okay.
Oh shit. So he began going by the name John O'Leary and shaved off his mustache to change his appearance. Ooh.
Oh, wow.
He would never return to the Northwest. Allegedly, he ended up in New York City and got a seaman identification card, nice, and sailed on the steamship to Panama. There he tried to steal a small boat with the help of a drunken sailor who killed everyone on board and was arrested. Still free, Panzram traveled to Peru to work in a copper mine. After that, he traveled to Chile, Port Arthur, Texas, London, Edinburgh.
This guy's seen the world.
Paris and Hamburg.
Oh God, we went overseas.
Yeah.
Homeboy London, did his roundabout train hobo orgy around the US.
Which is and then he
made it to Mexico, then hopped on a boat that he stole and went to all South America, Central America. And then just was like, all right, we're going all the way. And went to Edinburgh.
Yeah. And Hamburg.
This guy's literally seen the world.
Yeah, because the next section of this biography
Please say Russia. Please say Russia.
Murdered Spree.
Oh, yay.
Okay. In 1920, he committed a robbery in Newport, Rhode Island. In August of that,
we're back.
We're back in the U.S., baby.
Okay.
In 1920, Panzram burglarized the William H. Taft Mansion in New Haven, Connecticut, a home of William Howard Taft, former president of the United States. He believed that Taft was responsible for his Leavenworth imprisonment. He stole a large amount of jewelry and bonds, as well as Taft's Colt M1911 45 caliber handgun, which low-key I think is hard as fuck.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it is. I mean,
he took off
bad.
Yeah. On a murder spree that spanned 8 years and multiple countries. With the money stolen from Taft, he bought a yacht, the Akista. He lured sailors away from New York.
He bought a yacht this time. He didn't steal it. We're upgrading.
He bought it.
Okay.
Mm-hmm. He would lure sailors away from New York City bars, get them drunk, rape them, and shoot them with Taft's pistol, then dump their bodies near Execution Rocks Light in Long Island South. He claimed to have killed 10 men this way.
Oh my God. So he was like, you wronged me when I was 14.
And now I'm going to steal yours with your gun.
I'm going to steal your gun and kill a whole bunch of people, and you feel bad about it.
The sailor murders only ended after the Akista ran aground and sank near Atlantic City, during which his last two potential victims escaped to parts unknown. In October of 1920, using a pseudonym, John O'Leary again, he was arrested in Connecticut for burglary and possession of a loaded handgun. And in 1921, he served 6 months in jail in Connecticut, in Bridgeport, specifically. He then caught a ship to South Africa and landed in Luanda, the capital of colonial Portuguese Angola. In 1921, Panzram was foreman of an oil rig in Angola. The foreman of a fucking oil rig.
Just hopped right in.
I'm not done. He later burned it down out of what he said was spitefulness. Pure spite. A whole oil rig.
Do you ever just go to work and think, could burn this place, the whole place down if my fucking coffee's bad? You know, like those intrusive thoughts that are fleeting, You're not supposed to do them.
No, but I mean, it seems like he acted on every single one of those, so I don't even know. He later claimed that while in Angola, he raped and killed a boy estimated to be 11 years old. In his confession to this murder, he wrote, "His brains were coming out of his ears when I left him, and he will never be any deader."
Oh my
He also
God.
claimed
His-
that he hired a I mean, I don't even know what to say to that. Like, what the fuck? Like, hello? This was a direct quote. Like,
Wow.
what's going
Wow.
on?
It's more wild almost that he's like, yeah, so it is what it is.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Wow.
Just casual.
Mine is fucked up, but yours is nearing
Okay.
that. Yeah, that's pretty fucking horrible.
So he also claimed that he hired a boat with 6 rowers and shot the rowers with a Luger pistol. I don't know why he hired them and then just killed them, but he threw their bodies to crocodiles.
Are you getting Joker vibes from this guy? Just like pure chaos, like no ends.
Yeah.
Okay.
After his return to the United States, he raped and killed 2 small boys, beating one to death with a rock in 1922 in Salem, and strangling the other later that year in New Haven. After his murder spree, by the way, this is Salem, Massachusetts, not Oregon. Sorry.
Okay. New Salem, because he's not
New
going
Salem.
back to the
He's
Northwest.
not going back to the Northwest.
Right.
He worked as a night watchman in Yonkers. In Providence, he stole a yawl and sailed to New Haven, seeking victims to rob and rape and boats to steal. Like, it's some fucking prospect.
It's like a game.
Yeah. In June of 1923, in New Rochelle, New York, he stole a yacht belonging to the police chief of this town, and he picked up a 15-year-old boy named George and promised him a job on the boat, but instead sodomized him.
Saw that one coming.
Yep, me too. In June of that year, Panzram claimed to use a 38 caliber pistol from the stolen yacht to kill a man attempting to rob him on the boat. He then threw the body in the river.
This guy's body count is insane.
He stole $1,000 worth of fishing nets. Just figured I'd tell you that because I don't fucking know like why.
The amount of detail in this report, like he's like, oh yeah, back in 1922, I stole the 38 pistol from that one guy that was left of the train station. Like he's like so like just got it. Like that's how very there he is, which makes it worse.
So actually, he kept that kid on the boat for a while. Like the 15-year-old boy named George, he was like always on the boat with him. And he saw him like kill the guy with the 38 caliber pistol, jumped overboard, swam to shore. He reported to the police in Yonkers that he had been sexually assaulted by him. And then an alert went out for Captain John O'Leary, and he was arrested on June 29th in New York. On July 8th, he tried to escape from jail. He later conned his lawyer by giving him ownership of a stolen boat in return for bail money.
Oh my
bail,
God.
and the boat was confiscated by government agents.
Oh my God.
In
like
August,
who would even they're like, yeah, I'll take a deal with this guy, no problem. Like why?
Yeah. So he was arrested after breaking into a train depot. 3 days later, he was cleared as a suspect in the stabbing of Dorothy Kaufman, committed a month prior. He was sentenced to 5 years imprisonment. While in county jail, he confessed to the alias Jeff Baldwin and that he was wanted in Oregon. In October, he was imprisoned in Clinton Prison in New York as inmate 75182. He was discharged in 1928. And
they still let him out?
Yeah, and allegedly committed a murder that summer in Baltimore.
They're like, all right, we're going to let you out on good behavior. And then he's like,
we're nearing the end. In August of 1928.
Yeah, because this dude's a fucking geriatric by now. He's spent 3,000 years in prison.
Chanel, you want me to tell you? You're going to be gooped by how old he is when I tell you. You're like, oh, he's geriatric by now?
He was so quick. He's just so quick.
He's fast.
Fast boy, fast as fuck.
He's zooming through life.
Oh my God.
August 1928, arrested in Baltimore for a DC burglary, stealing a radio and jewelry from the home of a dentist on August, like 10 days earlier. During his interrogation, he confessed to killing 3 young boys earlier that month, one in Salem, one in Connecticut, and a 14-year-old in Newsbury, Philadelphia. Panzram confession to killing a boy at Pier 28 on League Island near Philadelphia in August 1928 was confirmed, but the other 2 like couldn't be confirmed. Like they couldn't confirm like these murders. He later wrote that he contemplated mass murders and other acts of mayhem, such as poisoning a city's water supply with arsenic, or scuttling. This is crazier.
What?
You think that's wild? Or scuttling a British warship in New York Harbor to provoke a war between the United States and Britain.
Oh my God. This dude is a freaking mastermind.
In light of his extensive criminal record, Panzram was sentenced to 25 years to life in prison at Leavenworth Federal Penitentiary. Again,
No.
that's foul.
No way. Full circle, baby.
He warned the warden when he got here, "I'll kill the first man that bothers me." He was assigned to work in the prison laundry room where the foreman, the foreman was known to bully and harass other prisoners under him. God damn. He antagonized Panzram constantly, despite the latter repeatedly warning him to back off. And then he beat him to death with an iron bar.
He said, "I wasn't joking."
Yeah. He was convicted and sentenced to death. He refused to allow any appeals of his sentence.
I was waiting for that.
He refused to allow any appeals of his sentence. Isn't that insane?
He wanted to die.
In response to offers from death penalty opponents and human rights activists to intervene, he wrote, "The only thanks you and your kind will ever get from me for your efforts on my behalf is that I wish you all had one neck and that I had my hands on it."
Wow. He really is a poet. Wow. This guy's just so upset. He's so angry with everyone.
Yeah. And so while he was on death row, he befriended an officer named Henry Philip Lesser, who would always give him money to buy cigarettes. Panzram was so astonished.
When are people going to learn to stop befriending this dude? I don't understand.
Well, there's a reason that this is relevant. He was so astonished by this act of kindness that Lesser provided him with writing materials. Panzram wrote a detailed summary of his crimes and nihilistic philosophy while awaiting execution. Panzram explicitly denied having any remorse for any of his actions and began his journal with the statement that, "In my lifetime, I have murdered 21 human beings. I have committed thousands of burglaries, robberies, larcenies, arsons, and last but not least, I have committed sodomy on more than 1,000 male human beings. For all these things, I am not in the least bit sorry." He was hanged in 1930. An officer attempted to place a customary black hood over his head, and he spat in the executioner's face. When he asked for any last words, he responded, "Yes, hurry it up, you Hoosier bastard. I could kill a dozen men while you're screwing around." And he was buried in the Leavenworth Penitentiary Cemetery, where his grave is only marked with his prison number, 31614.
What? This guy is so ruthless.
Can you believe that? Can you fucking believe even a single ounce of that? Because that shit, like when I was reading it earlier, I was like, there's no way. And hang on, let me do one more thing for anybody watching, just because I want to show you all. This is him. This is
just
the boy.
Just a regular dude.
Just a regular ass guy. Just a normal.
He absolutely has dead eyes, though.
Oh, yeah, 100%. But I mean, I feel like most of the people from like the 20s and 10s kind of look like that.
That's fair. That's fair. But oh my God. So I'm not going to lie. When you said he murdered 21 people, I really thought it was more just by how like he was bouncing around everywhere. He's like, I killed 3 here. I killed 2 there. I don't know. I murdered this guy. Wow.
I know.
He
like,
almost started a literal war.
he thought about it. Like he
thought about starting a literal war just because. Wow, he's like chaos. And like the thing is, like, he wrote this, so he is all there, and people would be like, this guy's crazy. Like, he's not crazy. I say this all the time. Like, people aren't crazy. That's like a cop out. He's just
some people
evil.
can just be fucked up. Yeah, rage personified. That's this motherfucker.
Holy wow. Lying.
Again, some of the best quotes like ever. I think I told Chanel he had some of the best like serial killer quotes I've ever read, and like those are like.
He really does. You were not lying. How is this guy? Why do I not know about him? Like, I feel like that's so much more interesting than a lot of the stories we know.
Yeah, so that's what I was thinking. I was like, holy fuck, how have I never heard of this man before? And I feel like it's only because like the murders weren't like, he wasn't like doing anything to them. You know what I mean? Like he would just fuck them and then kill them. Like he wasn't like fucking their dead bodies like Jeffrey Dahmer, or like doing weird shit to them, or
he didn't have like a signature.
Yeah. He was just doing like he was just doing regular murdery stuff.
Just killing people, just raping
Just
and
killing.
killing people.
Oh, here I go killing again. Like, hello.
Oh my God. What a foul creature.
I can't I couldn't believe it like reading it. Like I really couldn't. Just reading all about
Wow.
this fucking guy. The aliases he served so many prison sentences. I mean, isn't that insane? He escaped from like
It's
four of them.
insane and
Four
like
of them.
also like kind of funny because he had a sense of humor. He literally crossed to the south and was like, I'm gonna use their commander's name, idiots.
No,
Like
exactly. Like
that's why I'm getting like huge Joker vibes from him because he's like, ha, everyone else is so dumb.
yeah.
Like I can
Yep.
literally do whatever I want. Wow. So
I know I like don't even know like really what to say. Like
wow.
Mr. Panzram, like I give you I don't know something. Hey, you get some credit for burning down that shitty school of yours. I will give you
That
that
one you get, yeah.
and
yeah.
for killing the guy who was fucking with you in prison that put you on death row. I think that was probably also deserved.
I'm surprised he didn't kill his parents.
On God. Like
Right?
yeah.
Right. I wonder
So he was 39
his-
years old.
Oh,
39.
shit. That's
39. It. Yeah. Bro,
well, he
I mean,
did
when
start
you're-
at 8.
Yeah,
so...
exactly. When you're doing drunk and disorderly at 8, like you just gotta it just goes up from there. It only goes up from that
that's
moment
like
in time.
still like 25 years of murder. So like whatever. Holy crap.
Yeah. His little cute little 8-year murder spree.
Wow.
Imagine committing 10 murders, 8 murders, something like that, with one of the old president's pistols.
Yeah, and then also just not getting caught like for more than a couple months, maybe a year.
Mm-hmm.
He's just like, oh, you got me, bummer, sucks for you. Like
Also, this dude had to be an I couldn't like decide like while reading this if he was an excellent thief or an awful one. Because while he would steal yachts and shit, it was also like he got out of jail and then got caught a week later. And I was like, huh.
yeah, and like one of the first ones you said, he's like, he got caught for stealing like $30, like $80 or something. And I was like, wait, you stole a boat, but you got caught for $30? Like,
no, literally.
What? Wow, what a good pick.
I also just wish I knew more about why he wanted to kill the Lutheran clergyman with the revolver specifically.
That's where it started. He was like, that one made me mad. I don't know. That one made me mad in particular. Now I'm mad always.
Oh my God.
Okay. Wow.
He had that number on lock though. He knew all like every detail. Like I believe every word. Like I'm not gonna lie. I feel like he knew exactly.
I killed this many people at this time with these guns. I feel like he had to take notes like throughout his life.
I don't know, or maybe he just had that memory, man, because I feel like they don't forget. Yeah.
That's wild. That is truly wild.
So yeah, like I said, we are gonna talk about a lot of things, and we hit them all for sure. So
we definitely have very different types of people. Wow. Okay. So I'm supposed to have the paranormal side. Are we ready for this?
I'm waiting. I'm like shaking in anticipation.
Okay. So first of all, I want to I got a lot of my information from Hannah's favorite podcast. Can you believe we're not her favorite podcast?
Isn't that foul, guys? Isn't that foul?
And it's called And That's Why We Drink. And a lot of this information is straight from them. I'm more concerned with your reactions to these things. A lot of it's from a bunch of different newspapers and websites as well. But like theirs is what Hannah actually suggested it. She's like, this is the most like shocking one.
Oh, okay.
So for hauntings to take place, usually something bad has had to happen in the place beforehand. Usually, right?
Sure.
So I'm saving the true crime part, the bad parts, till the end. So I'm going to tell you what kind of hauntings are going on, and then I'm going to tell you what happened and why they were going on.
Okay.
I've kind of flipped the script.
That's fine. I'm going to take this off. I want to be able to give you pure, unbridled.
All right.
Reaction,
Yes. Oh my goodness. I am like...
Are you nervous? Are you scared?
I don't know. I just don't know how you're going to react to this.
Probably well.
Okay. Probably. All right. So, like I said, we're talking about the hauntings first, and then we'll get to why later. So everything will kind of connect and make sense of what's going on.
Definitely.
So the hauntings take place after the Civil War in New Orleans, Louisiana, New Orleans,
The Bayou.
down in the bayou. The house in question, it's a mansion, and it's called the LaLaurie Mansion.
Already sounds creepy as fuck. Okay.
Lots of French down there.
Sure.
The LaLaurie Mansion still stands today, and you can go see it and tour it, which I do not suggest in any way. It's on Royal Street in New Orleans, and it is so New Orleans, if you know, has like a lot of haunted shit down there because a lot of bad stuff happened. It's old as far as the U.S. goes, and this house is considered to be one of the most haunted houses in the French Quarter of New Orleans. A generally just spoopy place. So this ranks right up there at the top, even for the locals.
Perfect.
The way I labeled this, I'm gonna give you the history of the house.
Okay.
And that says after the craziness. So this is the house after the original events.
Okay.
Then I'm gonna give you the specific like types of hauntings and how they manifested.
For sure.
And then the story.
Okay.
So in the 1840s, after everything happened, this is only 3 years after everything happened. It's the first guy to buy the house. He just was like, screw it. 3 years later, I'll take it. No big deal.
Sure.
So he rebought the house, started fixing it up, and he tried to live there for only 3 months.
Nice.
He left because he felt this intense feeling of people constantly staring at him, and he heard noises throughout the entire night.
That's really okay. I'll stop you right there. I would have been gone after 3 months as well.
I would have been gone after 3 hours of that. So he was like, I'm out of here, but I just bought this, so I can't just like leave it. So he started leasing it. Longest
smart,
leaser, businessman there. The longest leaser only leased the house for a few days. A few days.
A few days.
Because they couldn't handle the intense feelings. So that he obviously gave up.
Oh my God.
He had no luck there. So then that keeps this abandoned for almost 40 years.
Holy shit.
Because people
so not until the 1880s?
So 1874, so almost 40 years. 1874. They turned the mansion into, what did they turn it into? What's fun after bad things happen? A school. So they put children in this place.
Of course. Of fucking course that's what they would do. Of course that's what they would do. Classic bullshit from the 1800s United States. Sounds just typical for me.
Just regular, whatever. This was just kind of interesting to me. It was an all-girls school for about a year. And then the White League made it an all-white all-girls school. Right after that, so they forced all the black girls out, and then after that they were like, actually, a segregationist said we should just make it a black school because weird shit's happening. So they made it.
Is what?
Segregationists were like, hey, we should just make it an all-black person school because weird stuff's happening, and we're gonna put the black people here instead.
Oh, that's great.
This is the South right after the Civil War, so trigger warnings for like slavery and racism.
We love Jim Crow laws. It's fucking great. I mean,
so
I guess on the bright side, at least they got somewhere to be educated.
Sort of. We'll see.
Okay.
The all-black school only lasted for 1 year because shortly after becoming an all-black school, there was the very first reports of actual paranormal activity besides the guy being like, I feel weird.
You know what? Of fucking course there was.
Yeah.
Of course.
Are you ready for this?
Sure, yeah, lay it on me.
Many, many black children reported straight to their teachers that they had been physically assaulted by a lady who would chase them with or carry a whip.
Oh, what? Huh?
Yeah.
No. Did they have like injuries?
There were reports of girls coming to the teachers with cuts, scratches, and bruises, all reporting the same woman inflicting all of these injuries.
Oh my God.
And that may or may not make sense later.
Okay.
This
That's
woman described every time the same way did not exist within the school or the staff.
oh, it's excellent. It's great to hear that.
So the school closes. At least they did that.
Well, that's good. You know, it's nice that they weren't letting the racist white lady run around and whip, you know, these
Small
poor little
black
black
children.
babies who were just trying to get educated, man. Like, what the
Poor-
fuck?
Poor babies. So after that, there was some problems. They tried to make it a music conservatory, a bar, a furniture store, apartments, and a bunch of other places. And guess what? It wasn't working out. None of them stayed open long.
Why? Because of the whip lady, or what? Were there more hauntings, or does it just say?
We'll start with the furniture store. The furniture store
Sure.
owner,
Sure.
he bought it and he had his store open, all excited, and he overnight, something kept happening where he thought vandals were breaking in.
Can I pause you for a second?
Of course.
Is it spoilers if I ask what this house looks like? Can you like show me really quickly?
I can show you. It is a 2-story. It actually right now looks really nice. I mean,
Okay.
it was like a rich estate.
Okay. Well, that's because I'm trying to put together how a fucking house can be like, you know, a music conservatory and like a fucking furniture store.
It's massive.
Okay. And a school. Like, hello.
So, let me share my
Just because I'm like
screen.
curious.
No, that's a
Sorry.
good ask, especially for the people watching. You're gonna get a little sneak preview.
Oh boy.
If I remember how to do this. Hey. All right, so this is the beautiful, very nice, very homey manor.
Oh, is this what it looks like? Is this what it looks like now?
Yeah, and so back then it looked pretty similar. It was just a little bit older.
Okay. I can understand now how it could be so many things. This was on a corner?
This is on
Like
the
just
corner.
a corner? The
Yeah.
corner of happy and healthy, I guess. Let's keep going.
Of course.
Jesus.
But of course, back then there was like a courtyard and there was some grass and, you know,
Oh, so cute.
not all
Nice.
city.
Yeah.
So the furniture store owner thought people were breaking in. So
Mhm.
one night what does he do? He sits up with his shotgun like a normal Southern gentleman, right?
Of course. What else?
He's gonna get these bastards.
Yeah, hell yeah.
And no one came in.
Sure.
And
I mean,
so
no, there was nobody breaking in the first place. The call's coming from inside the house.
literally. So at one point he's walking around just like kind of waiting for it to happen, waiting for these people to break in, and he turns around, does a little look, turns back, and all of his furniture, as it had been before, is covered in a dark black stinky liquid covering everything.
Dark black and stinky. Those are my I'm not a fan of most of those things.
So the
mostly
next
things
day,
that are liquidy and black and don't smell good. That's
sounds horrifying.
sounds terrible. I don't like that changing my mind. Oh, did you prefer? Do you have an opinion on the light? Just keep it off. Keep it off. Fuck it. There's enough sunlight. Just gotta go fast.
So the very next day he closed the store and said, nope the fuck out of there.
Yep, definitely. That would have been my move as well.
Yeah, same. So the occupants that try and live in the house after that suffer intense health-wise problems or financial problems to where they can no longer stay in that house because they're unable, they're dead, or they are too poor to be there.
Great. That's really fucking awesome.
So in the 1880s, there was the big immigrant movement. A lot of Italians came over and were like dock workers.
Yeah.
So, oh gosh. Landlords were quick to fill out the empty spaces. So this house that no one was touching for good reason, they were like, yoink, let's try it. Why not? Right?
Sure.
Well,
classic good idea landlord moment.
Yeah, they're like anything for money. All right, the landlords, they rented it out. They didn't give a fuck.
Mhm.
One of the tenants were found brutally murdered and their belongings were ransacked. So the cops were like, that's a burglary. Like, chill out. Like,
for sure.
Right.
Yeah.
And no one can tell. They don't know. And so
how were they killed? Like how like
he was beaten to death.
That? Oh, beaten to death. Oh wow, holy fuck. Okay.
Yeah, brutally. And so
Jesus.
they interviewed the victim's family and his friends, and one of his friends claims that this gets me. A few days earlier, he said he was having trouble with sprites or spirits in his house.
Sprites.
Yeah. The friend claims that there was a demon in the house that would not rest until his friend was dead.
Oh, that's good. Well, those are two very distinctly different descriptions of what was living there.
Yeah. Okay, so now we're on to the 1900s. One dude bought the mansion, and within a couple days, less than a week, he died. The very next owner,
Classic.
the very next owner bought the house, and within a couple of months, wound up in a mental asylum.
Oh, also just equally as good.
A couple owners later, so they still aren't staying. There's a little gap, but they're not staying. A future owner ends up in a coma unexplainedly.
Did they ever come out of it?
Not that I know of. They were in a bar fight down below and ended up in a coma.
Okay. Sure, for sure. It's good.
The next owner
stuff.
dies in the house within a year.
It's awesome. It's really great.
This one is going to throw you for a loop. So it wasn't bought until 2009.
That's a little too close to the time that I'm alive. In fact, it coincides directly with that.
Do you want to know? Do you want to know who bought the house, Carl?
Shut your mouth. Just tell me. Come on.
Nicolas Cage.
Oh my! Of fucking course he did. Of course he did. The fucking the Burning Man himself. Let's just the Wicker Man or whatever.
And do you know what happened to Nicolas Cage after he bought the house? So he bought the house because he was gonna write a horror novel. He thought it was a good place to write that.
So then his acting career, I'm assuming, just took a dive, huh?
His acting career plummeted, and he had to file for bankruptcy and lost the house.
So that's why Nicolas Cage just dropped off the face of the earth.
Yeah.
Because that was exactly around the time. Because National Treasure had just come out like in the early 2000s, like before 2009.
Down after that. Done for. Yeah.
That's
wild.
Fucking crazy. That's actually low key. That's fucking crazy. Because thinking about it, like he had just had a string of bad movies. Like
he just went into a hole.
Yeah. No, literally.
Yeah.
They were like, it would get too much buzz if we killed him, so we'll just ruin his life instead.
They're gonna know something. They're gonna ruin the house.
I mean, if I were him, I would have done my research. And Loki, that's on you, pimp. Like that was a dumb decision.
He knew it was haunted, and he went there because he thought it would be a oopy spoopy place to write his novel.
Again, like still, that's like, oh, haha, cool. Like, yeah, we love living in the moment. But then do you like your life being in tatters? I'm sure you're not a huge fan of that.
Like, I know you don't. Don't lie to me. Okay. So now we're gonna move on into like the types of hauntings and what people saw and heard.
Okay.
All right. So there are multiple accounts of tortured screams, rattling of chains in the kitchen and the staircase, dragging chains along the floor. There's moaning from a specific room in particular that everyone hears it from. There's phantom footsteps. There's feelings of being taken over by extreme negative energy as soon as you're on the property. And there's even cases of tour guides currently that get tugged on, pulled on, backpacks ripped off of them. One tour guide mentioned a certain little girl's name, which we'll get to, only to have all of the streetlights on the corner, because they were still outside, go out simultaneously.
I would have been like, okay, and that's it. We're not even gonna bother going in. That was the perfect example.
And she was like, oh man, like that's a crazy coincidence, and like kept going back into character, says the little girl's name again about 5 minutes later, and they all turn on.
Nah. No.
Okay. Some have witnessed, really, this is one of my least favorite. Some have witnessed hallucinations of their own pets being butchered.
What the fuck? What the fuck? For what reason?
There are more accounts of children being attacked by a phantom woman with a whip.
That's also great. We love the whip lady, whoever the fuck she is.
There are people that pass by the building have heard sobbing, screaming, and even gotten physically nauseous just by going near the building.
Okay, true.
Children that were tenants during the apartment times have heard wails and also smelled a burning smell, which people later kind of pieced together was burning flesh smell. There was scratches in the floorboards, but that's
Pause,
not all.
pause, 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 pause. How the fuck did they discern that scent?
That's what I said. I was like, there's
How
just
did
like
they manage?
even again, I got a lot of this information from it, and that's why we drink. And even then, they're like the kids are like, "Oh, mom, I smell flesh." Like, like what?
What you cooking? Like, hello? What the fuck? Like, why would you know what that scent is?
I guess, and who knows? It could be a stretch. It is a ghost story. They described a scent, and parents were like, that sounds a lot like rotting corpse." Like, I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know either. Okay, you can continue. I'm sorry.
No, you're good. So there's scratches in the floorboards, but that's not all. People have heard the scratches and then turned around to see physical scratches in the floorboards and walls.
Oh, that's fucking terrifying. Holy shit.
Yeah. Can you imagine? You're like, I hear something, but it's just like it's just creepy crawly, and then all of a sudden, like there's actual physical marks, and you're like, I don't want to play anymore.
I'd be like, I'm you won't be hearing from me again.
So a lot of the kids were written off as having a big imagination, as people do. And so
I hate that shit.
me too. Believe your fucking kids.
Yeah.
So a lot of it was written off for like a while, and that all changed. This is a direct quote from the source. But that all changed late one evening when one of the dock workers came home and found a large African-American man in chains blocking a stairway. The dock worker demanded he move out of the way, but the large man didn't respond. When the dock worker went to push him out of the way, his hands went right through the large man, and then he dissolved into a cold mist.
No fucking okay. That's a little all right.
There are reports of a pale, dark-haired woman that chokes people while you're sleeping.
Classic. Love that.
But there's a second ghost that's reported that tries to stop the lady that's choking people.
Well, that's nice.
One good guy. Hey.
Hey, at least there's a friendly ghost. They must be fighting over the house or something. Just been feuding all these years.
Beefing.
Yeah.
There are horribly maimed ghosts that show up in the night, seemingly just to show you their wounds and scars.
Awesome. That reminds me of the Sixth Sense. Look, I found my daddy shotgun in the closet.
Oh no. There was one woman living there with a baby who woke up one night to a woman described as a ghost looking like one of the owners, bent over the crib talking to her baby aloud.
One of the original owners?
One of the original owners was the lady that was talking to the baby. No spoilers. Windows and doors
fucking massacre a whole family? Like
windows and doors both inside and out reported opening by themselves. Even from the street view, you could see it happening.
Great. That's fucking excellent.
And then one of the final types of hauntings, there was reports of a little girl figure falling or jumping off the roof balcony, reported enough times where it became common knowledge, and they're like, nah, that just happens. Sorry.
Nah, that just happens.
Yeah.
That's like when we did the fucking Reddit horror stories, and it was the prison guard who was like, or the CO stories, and it was like,
he's like, ignore it. He's like, ignore it. Yeah. He's like,
just tell him it's over. Yeah, just tell him to go away.
Yeah, the yard is closed or something like that.
Yeah. How can you be so casual about like little girl ghosts? A little girl ghosts are the worst too, man. There's no worse type of ghosts. Like little girl ghosts.
You are gonna bite your tongue in a second.
Oh, great.
Okay, so now we're on to the title that I put. Why is it like this? And somehow those hauntings are like the most tame part of this story.
Including the murders that were sprawled from them, like including those, huh?
Yeah, those are tame.
Cool. Let's bring it. Let's get let's get what happened. Let's hear it.
A little fun fact first. This is actually the inspiration for American Horror Story Coven the third season.
Is that the one where they're in the house?
They are in a house, and it is
Yeah.
based on the LaLaurie house. It's not in the
Oh,
LaLaurie house,
okay.
but based on.
Wait, hang on, because I'm pretty sure I watched that season where like they just keep going through the owners and it's like the same ghosts haunting like different owners of the house. I didn't watch all of it, but I'm pretty sure I've seen like an episode or two of it. Yeah.
All right. Well, here we go. Strap in, buddy.
And strap on.
Madame Delphine LaLaurie was born in 1787, known as the mistress of this haunted house. She was part of a super large, wealthy family, and with wealthy families down in the South came slaves.
Sure.
Delphine grew up with slaves and went on to own them herself. She was widowed twice before marrying her third husband, and we're not sure how the widowing happened. Her third husband, who was physician Leonardo Louis Nicholas LaLaurie, who was 20 years younger than her. That was one of the shorter names.
20 years younger, and that's one of the shorter ones.
She met him while sending her daughter, who had spinal issues, to a physician for treatment, kind of like a chiropractor, and it ended up being him, and they fell in love. They hit it off. Oh my God,
that's literally so cute. That's adorable, actually.
So you helped my daughter. So they married and they bought the house. It was a 2-story mansion that, if you were watching, you saw already. It had slave quarters in it. She had a central position in like high class New Orleans society, very well known. Like, she was the bad bitch at the tea party, like everybody liked her. She was very coveted.
Okay.
But
Miss Delphine LaLaurie.
literally. But she ended up separating from good old Mr. LaLaurie.
Damn, a tragedy. The third, Mr. LaLaurie the third.
Which is rumored to have started her spiral, her downward spiral, but it's kind of like iffy because no one knows if he like left or if they kind of separated here and there. It's like not super clear because he's there during a part later in the story.
Okay.
So it began with neighbors suspecting something wasn't right because slaves in the household were replaced with no explanation, and they would just disappear. So she would just like keep getting slaves. She would just like keep getting slaves, and they're like, where did the other ones go? And like, I don't know.
Ooh, Major, what is the movie? The fucking Get Out? Yeah.
Get Out. Yeah. Well, get this. Neighbors noticed up to, this is not an exact number, so they noticed up to 35 to 40 disappeared slaves without explanation.
35 to 40? Holy shit. That is not a large number of, that is not a small sum of people.
That's like, almost 40 people that just, I don't know, not sure. So that clearly, so what set off the main issue? So they're already like, what are you doing in there? Like, where are they going?
Yeah, what's going on in the house, girl?
But homegirl in public like set 2 slaves free and was like very like, oh, look at me, Miss LaLaurie.
Sure.
So what set it off is a neighbor saw LaLaurie chasing a 12-year-old slave named Leah. Well, I think it's pronounced Leah, but it's spelled Leah.
Okay.
Running and screaming from Miss LaLaurie. She was being chased by her with a
whip. Yeah.
With a whip.
Okay. Yep.
This is reported to be because Leah was too rough brushing her hair. She caught a snag and pulled the mistress's head back, and that caused the entire chase.
Oh, so that's a very appropriate response.
Yeah, very measured. And so what do we know happened? Miss LaLaurie, Madame LaLaurie, chased this girl while she was running and screaming up to the roof balcony, where Leah either decided to jump or was so scared that she fell off of the balcony and died in the courtyard.
Oh my fucking God. Oh my God. Okay.
Now the little girl reports kind of make sense.
Yeah, that's not great. Okay. Yeah, I could see where. Yeah. Okay.
So the good old South, now they have laws saying you can't be mean to your slaves, you can't mistreat them, but you can have slaves. I mean,
isn't this? You said this was pre-Civil War, though, right? Isn't that when this is going down?
Right. No, right. What was the year? It was 1834-ish.
Oh, so way before the Civil War. Not way
Um,
before, but 30 years before.
okay. So this caused an investigation because they were like, we saw you kill that one. That's not good.
So you killed that one.
That's not good. So they did an investigation. The investigation led the law to take all of her slaves, which I don't know the exact number, but I want to say it was near between like 15 and 20.
Oh, so they came and took all of them from her.
They
Wow.
took
Okay.
all of them and they put them back up to bid for auction. But Madame
Sure. And her rich
LaLaurie,
ass bought them all back.
she wasn't allowed, but Madame LaLaurie, she had connections because she was popular. She had all of her family and friends buy one so she could take them back.
Oh, okay. That is some conniving shit for sure.
So these slaves had to go back. Now,
Jesus.
we're on to the main event.
The main event.
It's April 10th, 1834.
Okay.
The fire brigade is called because a fire breaks out in the mansion. The fire brigade came, put out the flames as best as they could, and they rush in there and they hear this woman screaming and crying and screaming. So they like run in there and they're like, oh my God, you're okay. And she's screaming at them. And she says, why did you put it out? I
Oh,
set the
no.
fire on purpose so that I
Yeah.
could take all of us with it. I wanted to kill all of us because we cannot spend another day in this house.
Jesus.
This woman
Holy
was
shit.
the chef for the house and she was chained to the oven.
Oh, that's excellent. Okay.
So it was basically a mass suicide attempt. She wanted to kill everyone so they didn't have to live there anymore.
Yeah. Okay.
The fire brigade was like, what the hell? So immediately they started looking for the other slaves, like, what is going on? And they found some and like evacuated some, right? And there's people out in the streets seeing like these kind of like bruised, a little bit mutilated slaves, and they're like, what the fuck is going on? Like, that's not from a fire.
Sure.
So they're like checking, they didn't find it. And then after they're like, okay, that must be all the slaves. They're like, hey, madam, we have to check the attic because we think there's embers up there. Like this could be like continuing the fire, like it's still smoking.
Yeah.
So they head on up there and Madame LaLaurie on the staircase is pushing them away. You can't go up there. You can't go up there. Physically pushing them away.
Nah.
And to the point where
nah.
they were denied access. And then they finally got in. And all I wrote in my notes is once they finally got in, nightmare. That's my notes.
Nightmare. Are you going to describe what was in there or no?
Absolutely.
Oh, okay, perfect.
So this Carl is the main event.
Okay, great. So I'm assuming I don't even want to. Yeah, you just go ahead. I'm not even going to guess. Just tell me.
They found more than a dozen slaves chained up to the walls and the ceilings. I'm just going to describe the scene.
Okay.
Some of these slaves were strapped into makeshift operating tables.
Oh.
Some were found in dog cages or animal cages. Human body parts were strewn across the floor and human organs filled buckets around the attic.
You said what?
Just, some body parts littering the floor.
Okay.
Newspapers quoted saying that victims were naked. Some of the women had their stomachs cut open and their organs wrapped around and tied around their waist.
What? Nah. What the fuck?
One woman was found with her mouth sewn shut, but before her mouth was sewn shut, animal feces was stuffed down her throat.
Oh, that's great. Okay.
Many of these slaves were experimented on. Men had their fingernails ripped off and their eyes poked out. So all the men had their fingernails gone and their eyes poked out, and they were castrated. So they cut their genitals off.
Oh, that's okay.
This is one of the worst sentences you might ever hear. Are you ready? And I made a note saying that if you listen to That's Why We Drinks podcast, like which you should, this is where I got it. They had trouble saying this part. Like the person talking who does this for their living was like freaked out by this and made the other one read it, who was also like, oh my God. Oh my God.
Okay.
One guy was hanging in shackles with a stick protruding from a hole that had been drilled in the top of his skull that had been used to continually stir his brains.
Oh my God, what the fuck?
Uh-huh.
What the fuck? No.
Yeah, to stir his
Oh.
brains, and he was alive. Yeah.
Okay.
Tortures were made to prolong death and continued torture as long as humanly possible. Many of these people were alive for months this way.
Months?
Months.
Months? Oh my God. What the fuck?
Some examples of the tortures made to prolong death are as followed: mouths pinned shut, hands sewn to their own body so that they couldn't move them. They were restrained to themselves in certain poses. One woman's one woman's arms and legs were removed, and another one, this is the one that like gives me nightmares. Another woman was forced into a cage. Her limbs had been broken and been reset at odd angles to resemble a crab, and her eyes were removed.
A crab?
So
what the fuck? Yes, no, I got the picture. Thank you.
Yeah. There were many mutilated sex changes. This is another really tasty one. A woman had her skin removed in a circular pattern in rings around her body to resemble a human caterpillar. So she had ridges throughout her body.
Oh, how do you... What the fuck?
Do we understand now why there was a disclaimer, guys?
What the fuck?
The next one had their face removed to resemble a gargoyle. So there was bones sticking out, so they looked more like the statues.
Nah.
Remember, all these people are alive.
Yeah. Oh, all of them.
Well, all the ones I'm describing right now.
Oh,
there was a lot of dead people too.
Okay.
Witnesses claim that tongues, ears, and noses were cut off and reassembled in different ways upon the face.
Oh, that's excellent.
One slave had their intestines removed and tied around their shoulders like a backpack.
Why?
One woman's back was peeled as to see all of the muscles exposed and still moving.
Oh,
it's my body's warm in a not good way.
I don't like that one. I didn't like that one. Didn't care for that too much.
Others were covered with honey and set on by fire ants.
That's really cool of them too. Jesus.
Most of them were kept alive as long as possible and also fed in these conditions as to stay alive longer. So Madame LaLaurie not only tortured and experimented on these people, but would go up and feed them like pets to keep them living longer in this condition.
Jesus.
Many of the people up there died that day or in those moments only because of the smoke inhalation. They were living like that and the smoke killed them, not the deranged, horrible operations.
Jesus.
So that is her torture room. It's kind of impressive to think about because remember it's 1830 and they're doing these intense, insane surgeries that are hacking limbs off. And these people are living.
When you say they, did she have like a partner in crime? Like, or was she...
So this is my own theory. There's literally nothing about this. Her husband was a physician, so he went to med school.
Yeah, so
my theory is to keep them alive that long, she wasn't just hacking things off. She had to know
so
how
maybe
to keep it clean.
From him?
There's no like fact that's saying that they were together, but it's kind of like just a me theory. Like
okay.
Also, there's these large men that she's just like, boop boop. Let me fucking chain you up and shackle you from the ceiling and stir your brains. Like, yeah, I almost threw up on that one. So that's the house that they found that day. Later, after LaLaurie was to be tried. Obviously, they basically like formed like a mob and went after them.
Classic. And
they were like, "Yo, we're for slaves, but that's not cool." And she and her family, her husband or her separated husband and the kids left and went to France. And it's like kind of hazy if she died there but they know that wherever she died, whether it was there or home, her remains got brought back to Louisiana.
Pause. They let her leave?
They
Hello?
didn't let her. She dipped. She destroyed the house as much as she could and dipped.
What do you mean by that? Destroyed the house as much as she could.
Like everything in it, she tried to destroy so that there wasn't
Okay.
like, I don't know, I guess so
Evidence?
there wasn't evidence, but they saw everything already, so I'm not really sure.
Oh, they didn't find anything else later, like corpses or anything like that?
Literally, like amazing because I was about to like read my last little paragraph, and it says later, after the house was destroyed, officials discovered a multitude of bodies under the house, crudely buried, and a lot of them with odd holes in the skulls as to be earlier experiments.
Mm-hmm.
And they said that they were barely covered under the house, like she threw them under there, like kicked some dirt, and we're like, okay, that's good.
How did that not smell? Hello?
No idea. Maybe New Orleans just smelled at that time. It was the 1800s.
I guess, yeah.
And those were clearly found out to be former slaves that happened to go missing in the troves of 35 to 40.
Yeah. Holy fuck.
So now we go back to the hauntings. There was hauntings of ghosts trying to show their scars and horrible mutilations. So now imagine Crab Lady as a ghost.
No, I'm okay. Thanks, though.
Or Mr. Got a Stick poking out of my head as a ghost. Or
no
Caterpillar
face.
Lady, no face.
Sure. It's all good stuff. All good stuff.
There was sounds of chains. So the cook who was chained up, and a lot of people are chained up upstairs. There was
wailing, screaming, people like gouging into the floorboards, I'm assuming, trying to like escape and like get away, right? Like,
yeah, and there was moans from a certain room. I'm sure we guessed which one that was.
The attic.
Yeah. And the little girl jumping off, we already talked about that. And also the large man in chains is said to be one of the slaves that got out of the house and got rebought into it. So he was trying to leave again. So in his shackles. And
who was the name that was mentioned that turned the lights off?
That was Leah, the little girl, the little girl who jumped. So that is the LaLaurie Mansion. I think it's mansion.
Bro, so clearly she was haunting the place. Why would they bring her bones back?
I have no idea. They brought her remains, and it's not like buried at the house, but it's buried in New Orleans.
I feel like they kind of did that one to themselves. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah, like you can stay.
Although, you know what? When was the first? Can you give me a date for the haunting of like the first like recorded?
So there was a guy that said he felt creepy, but after that, the first ones were in the school, and that was, let's see, 1874.
Okay, so she was long dead by then. I was just curious. Because then she died in 1849.
Yeah. So the late 1840s was the first guy bought it. That was 3 years after. So I guess that'd be 50s, late 1840s. Yeah. And then it was almost 40 years before it was filled again. So 1874. Because it was abandoned. Remember, homeboy couldn't sell it or like lease it, so like people are like, I'm not going there they almost had the right idea for almost 40 years, and then they were like, let's turn it into a school, and they pissed every ghost off.
Yeah, especially her, because fucking she was running around whipping the little children.
Yep, and yeah, God, and presumably she killed many some owners, drove one of them insane, put one into a coma. So that is the house that is still available to be in, which why would you want to be there?
Why? That's like in my eyes like living in fucking the murder house in Chicago. It's the same. It's equivalent.
Yeah, the H.H. Holmes house.
It's the same. It's the same
Which
thing.
I think is like a fucking post office now.
Yeah, it's not there anymore. So.
And what else? The fucking Amityville. I can never ever say that word. Amityville.
Oh,
Amityville. That house. Why would you buy that?
Yeah, I don't know.
Let's talk about the guy who's like presumably knows all of this stuff happened, and 3 years later is like, oh, it's fine. I'll take it.
Yeah, especially so soon afterwards. He's like, I'm a cop. Like, huh?
He's like, that's fine. Like 40 to 60 people died in there. Bah, no biggie.
Nah, it's chill. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah, that's I don't really even know what to say, to be honest with you.
It's a rough
Like,
one. So hope you guys wanted gore, horror, and evil humans. Evil, very sane humans in your day. You guys asked for Ookie Spooky season. Guess what? This is about as spooky as it gets.
this is as scary as it gets because this is these are real people, real
This is-
murders.
this is
so
real life.
Really
That's-
cool.
That's as scary
This
as it
is real
gets.
life. Yep,
I want you
this
to
all
know-
happened. This is history.
I want you to know that while we're recording this, the sky has turned absolutely yellow outside, and I've got a tornado warning on my phone, and there are lots of clouds and rain coming in.
I'm gonna let you go. You need to go be safe and get away from whatever you invoked on yourself. We're just gonna call it. I don't like the energy.
I don't
Not
like
really,
it
it's not the
either.
vibe.
Mm.
We're done. Let's wrap it up.
We're not
Wrap it
promoting
up.
merch today. We're ready to go. We love you guys. You wanted spoopy.
Yeah, so you definitely got the fear. Jesus.
It feels ugly here, and I'm gonna leave, and I'm gonna go love on my dogs who will not be giving me hallucinations of them getting brutally butchered, hopefully.
Guys, you asked for this. We love you.
We love you
Hope
so
you
much.
got what you wanted. I hope you really did.
Did you like it? Don't you like Mad Libs better? Okay. We love you. Bye.
Bisers.